Hey you guys, Sarah Pacaro. Today's video is going to be about how to avoid other people's drama. And you want to avoid other people's drama because you got your own drama, right? You got your own drama in your life, and you are at this place where you're just exhausted. Maybe you're learning or trying to learn how to set boundaries, and you know that in order to do this, you need to do something different in your life. Setting boundaries, taking care of your own needs, and not let other people's problem and drama become your problem, because all it's going to do is continue to put all that stuff in your head, make things feel exhausting and overwhelming. And there's enough of that in life. And we all know a person or two who is overly dramatic. I mean, there's drama and then there's overly dramatic. And perhaps it's your mother, perhaps it's your father, perhaps it's a cousin, a coworker, a neighbor, perhaps it's your ex-spouse, and hopefully, thankfully, they are an ex, but you still have to engage with them. And this drama is draining. It is exhausting on all levels to spend time with people who exude negative energy. And you may be an enabler or a codependent, you may be a highly sensitive person, but you try to really see the good in everyone and see the positive and have this aura, this positive energy around you. And you realize when you're around other people who are very, very overly dramatic. They exude negative energy. They don't add to, they like take from other people. They always seem to be in problem mode or crisis mode and demand your attention. And perhaps you struggle with what to do when you're around those people. And you can enable them by allowing them to just continue to suck and drain and pull your energy. Often, overly dramatic people, such as these, want to suck your energy, and they want to suck you into their negative vortex because misery loves company, right? So, first, let's talk about and define what is dramatic behavior. Well, when you visit a family member, if you feel like you have stepped into an episodes of Real Housewives or Big Brother or any of those reality TV shows, that's dramatic behavior. When you visit a family member or a friend or spend time with maybe someone at work who is overly dramatic, that's what it feels like. It feels like you've stepped into a scene, a show, and it's intense, it's loud, it's aggressive. There's childlike behavior going on, inappropriate behavior going on. There's huge emotional reactions and explosions almost. And this dramatic behavior frequently includes crying, yelling, gossiping, emotional dumping, and acting like everything is an emergency, everything is crisis. That's what I mean when I talk about overly dramatic people. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you will notice that they are very overly dramatic about all kinds of things. And being around other people's dramatic behavior is mentally exhausting. It's excruciating. It's anxiety provoking. It is difficult on all levels: spiritual, emotional, and even physical, because when your body goes into that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, that anxiety has your muscles tense, your jaw, your face, your, oh, right? So everything is exhausting. And it can feel like there's this dark cloud looming over you and shifting what you wanted to be a joyful occasion to one of upset, one of negativity, and sometimes you can almost feel it in the air when you step into that space where they are. When you step into that room, you can sense when others are amped up or on high alert, especially if you are someone who identifies as an empath or a highly sensitive person. And that's why it's so draining to be around other people's drama, to hear about it, to see it, to experience it, because dramatic behavior is attention seeking behavior. And when you react and you get drawn into it, what's happening is that you're rewarding that behavior. Remember earlier I said maybe you're an enabler, because when you get drawn into it and you react to it, you're rewarding it. and you're sending the message that it's an effective way to get your attention. And drama tends to build on itself and it tends to pull people in and it becomes contagious. That's why all those reality shows, people love them. They're addicted to them because of the drama. And it's hard work when it's not just on TV, when it's in your real life. It's hard work to protect yourself from the natural instinct to react. But reacting, remember, sucks you into it. And it has them know it's an effective way to get your attention. And you want it to become an ineffective way to get your attention. So, how do we do that? How do we protect ourselves from other people's drama? Where? Well, here's how. What you need to do is create an invisible bubble around yourself. And that might sound woo woo, but let me explain. You need to keep a protective barrier or bubble or a shield around yourself in order to keep other people's drama out of your physical space and out of your mental space. So there's both components here. So, first of all, you need to accept that you cannot change their behavior. Remember that you can't make people behave differently than they already do. You can't make them behave differently. And when you remember that, that's the first line of defense. When you interact with these types of people with this in mind, when you remember you're not going to change them, then you're less likely to give unwanted advice. You're less likely to engage in arguments because you know engaging is not going to do anything. It's not going to change their way of thinking. And you're just going to be disappointed if you do. So when you remember this, when you accept and remember, I cannot change them, you engage differently with them and you're less likely to give unwanted advice. They don't want your advice anyway. I promise you. And you're likely to remember not to engage with them. And this is where the gray rocky method can come in. You can engage with them by going, mm-hmm, hmm, hmm. And you can make these weird, stupid, grunty, cave like sounds because even if you weren't there, they probably wouldn't notice. They could talk to a wall and just go on and on and on. And you probably feel like that. They don't even notice I'm here. They're not listening to me. They don't even care what I have to say. So remembering that whatever you do say is not going to change them. And allow that to remind you to say less. And then anticipate that they're going to be difficult. Anticipate difficult situations. Spend some time before you get into that space reflecting on when the drama has occurred and who has caused it in the past, especially if it's in a family dynamic. I imagine it shows up most around holidays or birthdays or any time that that attention is not on them and it's on someone else. You'll see there's patterns with these overly dramatic people. They're often repeat offenders, and seeing these patterns can help you recognize when you're most vulnerable to experiencing this, can help you prepare, can help you create a plan to use these next and following strategies when you need them the most. So, first of all, be prepared, right? Understand this is how this person is. I'm not going to change them. And then stay calm. And the key to dealing with drama makers is to stay calm and not feed into it. And that is probably the hardest part, is just stay calm. Easier said than done, right? Well, the thing is, they're looking for you to react, and they're looking for you to react in a big way. They truly want you to drop everything that you're doing and focus on them. And that's the reason for the overly dramatic show that they're putting on, so that you will drop what you're doing and focus on them. They get your time, attention, and energy. Your goal is to let the drama wash over you like a wave, but not pull you under. So there's different things you can do. Deep breathing. Put your hand over your heart and breathe. And if this seems weird to do this, but you notice your anxiety and tension goes up, excuse yourself. We'll get to that in a moment. That's the next step. But breathe deeply, and you don't have to make it dramatic yourself. You can breathe in through your nose, so you can do box breathing. Breathe in for 3 or 4 seconds, hold it for 3 or 4 seconds, breathe out for 3 or 4 seconds, and then hold it again. You can use grounding exercises. You can Google those. There's mantras that you can recite before you engage with this type of person. Pick a mantra or two and just continue to recite those. I've got little post-it notes everywhere, and I have one in my car when I have to engage with the ex-narcissist. I just pull down the visor and I read it, and it just says, "You've got this." So maybe it's something as simple as that. The next thing to remember is to physically remove yourself when it's appropriate, when it's necessary. Sometimes you need to put physical space between you and the drama. That is a boundary, that is a barrier, it's a physical boundary. So plan to take some breaks. If you have to be around these people, step away from the drama by going for a walk, or go in another room and play with the kids. If there's a dog or a cat, like go play with the dog or cat, and they're so freely giving unconditional love, and they're not dramatic. I mean, maybe puppies are, but you know what I mean. Give yourself a physical boundary. I assure you it's perfectly reasonable to go and retreat and leave and go into another room, or even go into the bathroom. Go into the bathroom for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Say you have to poop. Say your stomach doesn't feel good. You ate something funny last night, and go to the bathroom. Go often. And when you go in there, you can do those breathing exercises. You can tap it out and continue to repeat the things you want to release, right? There's tapping videos out there. They're incredible. When things feel overwhelming, let people know you're not feeling well and that you need to go home early. You think you might be coming down with something and you don't want to give it to them. This is a form of self-care. Self-care is not always eyelashes and nails and massages. Creating a physical boundary is a form of self-care, and you need to do it for yourself, even if others are unhappy with your decision to leave. They may blow up and go, "Oh, well, where are you going?" Right? And then they may create more drama around that. But that is self-care, is creating a physical boundary. So give yourself permission to do that. Set in your mind, I'm going to stay for 40 minutes or 45 minutes, and then I'm going to leave. And then I'm going to say that I don't feel good. But remember to not make it about you. The drama isn't about you, no matter what anyone else says. Another helpful thing to keep in mind is that your drama loving person, this overly dramatic person, is projecting their own inner stuff, their own issues, their own unhealed traumas, their own inner wounds, their own insecurities onto you. And I know it's hard to not take things personally, especially if you're used to being blamed, if you've been, the black sheep or the scapegoat, and you've been singled out as the problem. It's hard to not take it personally. But when you recite those mantras and you give yourself physical boundaries, it does become easier, of course, with practice and over time. But try thinking about this person's behavior and what it reflects about them, instead of what it means about you. And I promise you it'll feel easier. See it as they're looking in a mirror, and that's how they feel about themselves. And then remember to stay in your own lane. And I imagine you've heard this phrase before, especially if you've gone through any kind of 12-step program. It's a really common phrase. Stay in your own lane means focus on yourself. Here I am. I'm not going to swerve into that person's lane, and that's what they're trying to get you to do. So don't get overly concerned about what other people are doing. Stay in your own lane. Know that you shouldn't take responsibility for other people's problems. If you do, you're going to get more drama. And chances are you can't solve other people's problems anyway, because it's if they like having the problem, because it gets them more attention. So you're not going to solve it, and they don't want it solved anyway. So when you think you can intervene or you think you should intervene, all you're going to do is get sucked into that drama like a vortex. It's really tough, I know, as a human, especially a caring, compassionate, loving, empathetic human, to sit by and watch other people be in pain. But if you make it your job to fix them, you're just going to get more pain. So don't make it your job to fix or change the situation, because you're just going to be met with even more anger, frustration, and anxiety. So if someone tries to draw you in, you can say something like, I know this sounds silly, but I'm working on staying in my own lane. And they might look at you and tell you how dumb you sound and how ridiculous that is, but it's okay. They can say whatever they want, because remember, that mirror, they're reflecting how they feel about themselves. And then the next thing is to maintain clear boundaries. So, your dramatic person in your life probably lacks their own boundaries. I guarantee you they lack their own boundaries, which means that you are going to need super clear, super consistent boundaries yourself. So, you need to clearly define those and come up with what the consequences are going to be when that boundary is crossed. This overly dramatic person feels entitled. They feel entitled to hijack conversation. They feel entitled to make demands and to think that everyone's plan should revolve around them. And they're the spotlight, the center of attention. So it's your job to draw a line and let them know what acceptable behavior is and what you are willing to do. And chances are you may struggle with saying no. So say yes. Yes, I will do this, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. Don't compromise your health, your well being, your ability to enjoy going out and engage in social events in order to satisfy this overly dramatic person's unreasonable demands. You can still have a good time there as long as you put some of these things into place. And then you want to get support. You want to get support wherever possible. You want to enlist support, enroll support. This can be another family member who would also like to remain drama free. Maybe if it's at a function, you guys hook up. It can be a friend who's willing to hold space for you, allow you to share, get this experience off your chest, out of your head, who's willing to debrief with you after a drama filled event. And you can let them know, oh, I have to go to this thing. Will you please, can I call you after so I can just get it out? And if they're a good friend, they'll hold space for you without trying to fix or change it, just let you get it out. So don't be afraid to reach out to other people for support before, even during, if you need to take a break, and after. And spend some time with drama-free people. Spend some time in journaling about it and engaging in these exercises that I've shared with you that will help. And remember that your own inner unhealed wounds are what is being triggered when you're around these people. So remember to spend some time focusing on those, working through healing those. And if you are interested in healing those, using the power of your subconscious mind, your inner mind, I would love to talk to you about rapid transformational therapy and hypnosis. But wherever you're at in your journey, I hope that this video helps you understand more about overly dramatic people and gives you some useful takeaway tips and tools to use when you have to be around people like this. As always, take care and be well.